It's finally here. The date is October 1st, 2025. Most people will wake up today and think it's just the first day of a new month, but you can already feel it. The energy is different. A rare moon alignment is happening and it is changing everything. The signs have been building. Sleepless nights, sudden feelings you can't explain, dreams that stay with you long after you wake. None of this was random. It was preparing you for this moment. Many will miss it. They will scroll through their phones, go through their routine, and never notice what is unfolding above them. But you are not like them. You are guided here because this rare moon alignment is speaking directly to you. So stay with me. But first, do 3 things. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, write $9.99 in the comments. Today the moon moves into a rare point that marks a turning moment. This event is not simple astronomy. In astrology, the point the moon touches is known for closing old cycles and unlocking new ones. It works like a turning key where one part of life ends and another quietly begins. This is the 10th month of 2025 and the timing is important. The moon presses against a degree linked with choice, renewal, and powerful beginnings. It can clear away what no longer fits and open paths that once seemed out of reach. This is why tonight matters. When the moon moves through this zone, people are guided to make decisions that shape their direction. Tonight carries that same power. For those ready to step forward, this is more than a date on the calendar. It is a moment that can shift the story of your life. Right now, karmic endings are clearing space for new beginnings. October 1st is marked as a time when old agreements are closing and new ones are beginning. Many traditions describe this type of passage as the place where destiny reshapes itself, where what has been promised long ago starts to show up in real life. The start of October opens a gateway that speaks directly to soul contracts. These are not random experiences, but chosen tasks, lessons, and connections that were agreed to before entering this life. During moments like this, certain contracts finish, clearing space for new ones to enter. Relationships may shift, roles may change, and inner callings may rise to the surface. This is how karmic endings move, not as loss, but as completion that makes way for higher purpose. In astrology, the position of the moon right now highlights spiritual shift. It is not about small changes, but about alignment with the path that was chosen long before. The closing of old karmic debts allows the spirit to move lighter, while new contracts can activate that guide toward higher service. These are initiations not by chance, but by design. No one listening to this message is here by mistake. The timing of arrival shows readiness. Every soul has windows of activation, and this is one of them. For those tuned to it, this passage is not punishment but recognition, a reminder that the journey is part of a divine mission. The lessons completed until now become the foundation for what comes next. Right now, the shift is active. The story of the past does not hold the same weight. What opens ahead is linked with purpose, calling, and the agreements made before birth. This is not theory. It is initiation and it is happening now. Today, emotions may rise in ways that seem stronger than usual. Some people might find themselves more reactive, more sensitive, or unexpectedly overwhelmed by old stories coming to the surface. This is not happening to break you down, but to clear away what no longer fits with the path opening before you. What looks like chaos inside is actually the body and spirit learning to release the weight of what has been carried for too long. Moments of sudden tiredness or bursts of restless energy can come without warning. This imbalance is not random. It is a sign of realignment. The body is adjusting to new frequencies and the mind is learning to let go of control. These shifts are part of a deeper transformation that prepares you for the next chapter, even if it feels uncomfortable while moving through it. Tears may come unexpectedly and not always with a clear reason. This release is a purification of the heart, a washing away of karmic layers that no longer define who you are. Each emotional wave is connected to a larger spiritual reset, showing that the path ahead is no longer tied to the weight of the past. Some will experience sudden flashes of memory like moments from earlier chapters of life, returning at random times. These are not punishments. They are reminders surfacing so they can be seen, understood, and released. The soul knows when it is ready to close doors, and these memories rise only because their lesson has already been completed. There may also be changes in sleep patterns, rest that feels disrupted, or nights where the mind won't settle. Rather than seeing this as a problem, view it as the inner world adjusting to a wider awareness. The body is trying to process light in new ways, and this shift in rhythm is a natural stage of integration. Even physical sensitivity can increase. Loud sounds, crowded spaces, or sudden changes might feel heavier than usual, This is not weakness, but a heightened tuning of perception. The spirit is aligning with a higher state, and the body is simply catching up. Every challenge in this process is proof the transformation is actively happening. The collective is moving through this purging together. Though it may feel isolating at times, these signs are reminders that you are connected to a larger movement of souls, crossing into a new timeline. The heaviness is temporary, but the strength it builds will remain. By the first day of October, many will notice a turning point. What once seemed overwhelming will start to make more sense as the emotional clearing gives way to clarity. Old bonds loosen, karmic ties unravel, and the heart begins to trust where the journey is leading. This stage of release is not meant to break you apart, but to show how far you've already come. Every tear, every restless night, every surge of memory is proof that you are evolving. You are not alone in this passage. The collective is walking through the same threshold. What feels uncertain now will soon reveal itself as the very initiation your soul agreed to before entering this life. In these starting hours of October, an unseen doorway is opening inside many hearts. What rises now is not new. It has lived quietly in the background, waiting for the right moment to surface. On October the 1st, the moon's movement draws out hidden layers of the self, layers that have shaped choices and emotions without always being understood. This is the season where shadows walk closer not to harm, but to teach. The shadow self is not an enemy, but a mirror. It reflects unspoken fears, unhealed wounds, and the parts of life that have been avoided. When these shadows rise, they demand honesty. They ask to be faced, named, and transformed. To reject them is to remain divided within. To embrace them is to discover strength that was always there waiting to be claimed. Karmic ties also grow louder during this time. Relationships may surface with tension. Memories of betrayal may echo, or unresolved conflicts may appear out of nowhere. These are not setbacks. They are opportunities to see what is ready to be released. The shadow teaches that every pain once carried can be turned into wisdom. In that transformation lies freedom. Ancient spiritual paths spoke of shadow work as a form of inner alchemy. To confront darkness was not to drown in it, but to heat it in the furnace of awareness until it turned into light. Today's astrology echoes the same principle. The planets reveal what is hidden not as punishment but as guidance. The return of old fears is proof that the soul is prepared for release. This work is never comfortable, but it is profoundly liberating. Emotional storms may pass through, yet they strip away what no longer belongs to the spirit's evolution. Karmic endings happen when truth is chosen over avoidance. When courage is chosen over silence. The soul already agreed to this process before entering this lifetime. It knew that the path to light must travel through shadow. By meeting the shadow directly, something powerful occurs. Anger can be turned into clarity, fear into strength, and shame into compassion. This is the alchemy of spirit. Each inner confrontation is a doorway, and every step through it is a declaration that the past no longer holds the same power. The date of October 1st marks more than a calendar shift. It signals a collective invitation. Across the world, many are facing the same process at the same time, each releasing personal burdens while also contributing to a wider purification. What happens in the private chambers of the heart ripples outward, creating change in the collective field. As October unfolds, the weight of shadow will not disappear in a single night. But the first day of this month signals that the process is active. By the starting days ahead, much of what seemed impossible to carry will have already been dissolved through truth, courage, and release. This is how karma is completed. Not by running away from darkness, but by walking into it with eyes open, ready to turn it into light. New doors are opening inside the collective, and each step forward reveals how much has already changed beneath the surface. What once felt heavy is now beginning to loosen, and what seemed impossible to shift is showing cracks where light can move through. This moment is not simply a pause between chapters. It is the ignition point of transformation across the soul's timeline. Every contract, every choice, every unfinished lesson begins to gather here. What rises now is a call to step fully into the life that was always waiting. It is not coincidence that you are hearing this at this exact time. The awakening was written into your path long before this day arrived, and it is unfolding exactly as it was meant to. The human spirit is being tuned in ways that the mind cannot fully explain. Vibrational realignment is not abstract. It is the lived reality of choosing higher truths while letting go of what drags the spirit down. Relationships, habits, even identities that once defined the self are being reshaped. This is not about loss, but about revealing the version of you that can no longer be hidden. Each wave of intensity is a sign of growth. Emotional outbursts, unexpected clarity, and sudden insights are not random. They are proof that the awakening process is active. The universe does not waste effort. It reveals what is necessary exactly when it is time to act. Spiritual awakening is often described as a calling, but it is more than that. It is a remembering somewhere within the soul already knows this path. The body and mind are catching up to what the heart has carried all along. This is why the present moment can feel so heightened, because the spirit is reclaiming its original frequency, no longer diluted by old weight. Momentum is building and it will not slow down. Each step you take toward truth strengthens the collective field. As more people embrace their awakening, the resonance grows stronger, amplifying what began quietly within individuals until it becomes a global tide. This is how transformation spreads, not through force, but through the undeniable power of awakened souls choosing to live authentically. The sacred change of this time is not distant. It is here. It is real and it is demanding presence. Every fear faced, every limitation broken, and every truth spoken is a declaration that the awakening has already begun. The self that once clung to survival is giving way to the self that thrives in freedom. Spiritual awakening does not arrive with comfort, but with purpose. And the purpose is clear. You are here to embody the light of your soul, to walk the path your spirit has always known, and to anchor a future where truth, compassion, and power move as one. Collective change is no longer a distant promise. It is unfolding in real time. Every heart that is opened, every truth that has been spoken, and every limitation that has been dropped is part of a larger movement that no one can deny. The ground we walk upon hums differently. The skies above hold a sharper clarity, and human consciousness is stretching into places it once feared to enter. This shift is not only about personal healing or private breakthroughs. It is the merging of countless awakenings into a larger field that continues to expand, drawing more and more souls into its momentum. A single decision made in courage echoes outward, touching lives that may never know your name, yet are changed by the vibration you have set in motion. The collective is rising through the courage of individuals, and the ripple cannot be contained. Spiritual revolution rarely arrives with banners or public declarations. Instead, it grows silently in choices, in compassion shared in the moments where someone chooses alignment over fear. What begins inside one person amplifies until it creates a resonance that others cannot ignore. It is in this way that the shift becomes undeniable, because it is no longer confined to individual stories but woven into the field of all. This transformation is tethered to the planetary grids that have held memory since the beginning. Each sacred site, each mountain, each ocean has stored echoes of human experience. Now those echoes are being rewritten through collective awakening. As people step into higher states of consciousness, the grids themselves vibrate with new tones, transmitting guidance not only to those who are awake, but to the generations that will follow. What is being formed now is nothing less than a blueprint for the future. On 1st October, the alignment of energies works like a mirror for humanity. It reveals what has been hidden in plain sight. The possibility of choosing differently, the power of collective awareness, the strength that rises when fear is no longer the ruler of decisions. This date marks more than a point in the calendar. It signals that humanity has crossed into a new octave, where the frequency of awakening becomes louder than the voice of despair. For those who have long carried the weight of karmic contracts, this time brings a thinning of the cords that once bound. Collective release does not mean perfection, but it does mean liberation from cycles that once felt endless. Entire lineages are touched by the healing decisions of individuals in this era, and the work you do for your own soul is simultaneously shifting generations past and future. It can feel as though the collective has entered a kind of sacred storm, yet within it lies order and renewal. Old identities are dissolving. Governments and communities are confronted with truths they can no longer hide. People are remembering their worth and claiming their voice even in places where silence has ruled for centuries. These breakthroughs are not isolated events. They are woven together into a larger fabric of planetary ascension. Every whisper of doubt, every fragment of fear that once whispered, "Stay small," is being answered by a deeper voice that says, "Rise higher." This is the consciousness revolution, the moment where what once seemed impossible begins to take form. It is no longer about a handful of seekers hidden in shadows, but about an expanding wave of awakened souls anchoring light into every corner of human life. The ripple effect of one awakened soul is immeasurable. Imagine a stone cast into still waters. Now imagine countless stones falling together, their waves merging into a great surge that reaches every shore. This is the collective moment we are living within. The ascension of consciousness is not a metaphor. It is a lived reality reshaping the way we relate, create, and embody truth. The very soil beneath us is charged with the momentum of awakening. Nations may argue, leaders may resist, but the deeper current is undeniable. Love is no longer a whisper. It is becoming the ruling vibration. Compassion, long treated as weakness, is revealing itself as strength. And truth, no matter how fiercely resisted, is breaking through barriers that once felt impenetrable. Planetary ascension is not an escape from the world, but a reclamation of it. To rise is not to leave behind, but to return with greater wisdom, greater compassion, and greater power. Every soul that awakens steps back into life not as a passive observer, but as a living lighthouse, offering direction in a time where so many are searching. The revolution is here, not in loud declarations, but in the steady pulse of consciousness that refuses to dim. Each moment of authenticity adds light to the collective grid. Each act of love strengthens the field, and each truth spoken creates a resonance that cannot be unmade. The collective shift is irreversible. It is already underway, and you are part of its living heartbeat. The shift that is now unfolding reaches deeper than personal stories. It stretches into the shared field that binds us together. Collective transformation has always been whispered through the ages. But today it is no longer a distant prophecy. It is here shaping every choice, every relationship, every community. The planet itself carries the resonance of this awakening, and the people walking upon it are remembering their part in this unfolding design. Each awakening heart strengthens the whole. The courage of one person releasing fear opens doors for countless others. This is why no step you take is wasted. Every breakthrough in your life contributes to the greater momentum that humanity is building. The collective field is like a living organism. Each soul awakening adds vitality, direction, and resilience to the entire movement. At the start of October, a rare convergence in the skies signals this momentum reaching a new stage. For many, it will not look like fireworks or grand displays. Instead, it will show itself in subtle recognitions, in moments where old paths no longer make sense, and in conversations that shift the course of communities. What matters most is not how it appears, but that it is unmistakably moving humanity toward higher truth. Spiritual revolution thrives in these moments. It is the quiet courage to speak, the willingness to stand in truth even when comfort asks for silence, the choice to love when fear tempts you to close off. These decisions echo far beyond the individual. They enter the collective grid, transmitting strength to those who are searching for direction. You may never know the lives you have touched simply by embodying your truth, but the influence is real. The process is not without challenge. Shadows rise to the surface not to punish but to be released. Communities confront their fears. Families face their karmic weight. Nations expose truths long denied. In the short term, this can look like disruption, but beneath the turbulence is a greater order, an unraveling of what no longer supports human evolution. To witness this unraveling is to see the clearing of a field so that new growth can finally emerge. Consciousness itself is the great architect of this change. It guides each person into moments that awaken strength, compassion, and clarity. It rearranges the collective so that truth has room to thrive. This is not controlled by governments, leaders, or organizations. It is woven directly into the fabric of human awareness. The revolution cannot be stopped because it is not external. It rises from within each soul and joins into the great chorus of humanity's awakening. As this movement grows, more and more people are beginning to remember why they came here. Purpose is no longer an abstract idea. It is becoming urgent and real. The work that once seemed too difficult is now possible, because the collective is holding the vibration together. Individuals who once doubted themselves are stepping into leadership. Healers are rising in communities where silence once reigned, and children are arriving with wisdom that challenges entire generations. This is the new rhythm of life where truth and compassion weave the foundation of the future. The first day of October will act as a marker in this unfolding. By then, much will have shifted in the energetic field, preparing humanity for the next stage of this collective journey. The timeline is not random. It is orchestrated through the combined choices of millions. Each person who chooses authenticity contributes to the unfolding design. Every act of love expands the field. Every truth spoken secures the foundation of the future that is now forming. This revolution is not a fleeting moment. It is a turning of ages. It calls upon you to trust the wisdom within and to walk it into every part of your life. It is not about waiting for a savior or a sign. It is about recognizing that you are already the sign. You are already the channel, You are already the answer the collective has been waiting for. To deny your awakening would be to deny your role in the great unfolding, and yet even hesitation cannot stop the movement of truth. The call will return, the door will open again, and the invitation will remain until it is accepted. The time we are in does not demand perfection, but it does demand authenticity. It asks for courage, for presence, for compassion. The collective is rising not through force, but through remembrance. Remembrance that we are one field, one heartbeat, one great unfolding of consciousness itself. The timeline has shifted. The path has opened and the revolution is alive. This is not the end. It is the beginning of a new stage where truth takes root, where compassion leads, and where the collective journey becomes a living prophecy. The passage into October carries with it a new invitation to step with courage into the deeper waters of transformation. The old way of walking has closed its door, and the next path is not built by logic alone, but by choosing clarity over confusion. Ancient wisdom reminds us that every step in alignment with truth leaves a track in the unseen, one that others can follow when the fog thickens. Hermetic teachings whisper that the inner and outer are not divided. To tend one's thoughts is to tend the collective garden. Plant words of strength. Water them with trust, and the harvest will not only nourish you but ripple outward in unseen ways. The Vedic seers taught that sound carries intention, so a spoken affirmation at sunrise can redirect the entire rhythm of a day. The coming days are less about racing forward and more about weaving stability into the changes already unfolding. A river does not question its course. It trusts the bend, the curve, the unseen horizon. In the same way, indigenous wisdom often speaks of walking in right relation with the sky above, the ground beneath, and all beings in between. To practice this is not complicated. Offer gratitude before eating. Pause before speaking. Listen more than you speak. Such gestures align you with the wider field of consciousness that is rising like dawn after. The Hermetic principle of rhythm reminds us that every rise is followed by a stillness, and every stillness prepares the next rise. Do not resist the pauses. They are the hidden teachers. A single deep glance at the stars at night can remind you that cycles far larger than any struggle are already in motion, carrying you with them. Carry forward this knowing. Transformation is not an event, but a continuous act of remembering who you are. Each choice, each word, each silent offering is already shaping tomorrow. A rare alignment of the moon on the 1st of October casts its influence like a silent drumbeat across the collective field, reminding every soul that thresholds are being crossed, whether noticed or not. What once lingered in shadow is stepping into clarity, and the air itself carries an invitation to rise stronger than before. Moments like these are not about perfection but about courage, the step taken in honesty, the words spoken with integrity, the decision made with clarity. These are the sparks that shape the path ahead. Old weight has no hold when the heart chooses truth. The alignment overhead is not simple astronomy. Astrology teaches us that it reflects a turning of the inner compass toward purpose and destiny. Before this chapter closes, anchor your commitment in action. Write in the comments the power phrase, "I rise into my higher calling." Speak it as a vow not only to yourself but to the unseen web that connects us all. And do not keep this light for yourself. Share this message with someone walking through their awakening, so they too can find strength in the reminder that no one walks this passage alone.